Hello, hello, welcome in everyone. Hopefully you're having a lovely May. It is getting close to the end of May and it's also close to a new moon. So nice message, nice timing to come through with that fresh new moon energy. So today, as you've seen by the title, this is why did you incarnate into this family this lifetime? So I'm going to be focusing on the specific lifetime. If it has anything to do with other lifetimes, that will come up. You may have played different roles with the family you're in, something like that. We'll see what comes through. Keeping it fairly open. Remember, this is a collective reading, so not everything may resonate with you in your reading. But take what resonates and leave what doesn't. That is always the best takeaway on all readings, whether they're personal or collective, but especially collective. Okay. So also, if you are adopted or something like that, take what resonates with the family that you see as more your family or see more fits, right? If it's something that doesn't resonate, maybe it's to do with like birth family or something like that, but you've got to think about this reading as well and where it fits into. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. So you can just leave it. Okay. Let's grab some piles. Let's see this one. I'll take this one. Okay. So these will be the three piles for you. So pile number 1, you have the Ascended Master Katumi and the Moss Agate with Sacred Ecosystem. 333 is the number. Oh, no, wrong way. Is the number for the Crystal Master. All right, pile number 2. You have the Goddess Sekhmet with the Fire Agate, Passion of the Lion Heart. And pile 3, you have the Angel Isda with the Carnelian and Nourishment. 444. Sorry, I didn't say this one is 888. So if you want the crystal numbers, 333 pile 1, 888 pile 2, and 444 pile 3. Okay, so these will be your 3 piles today. Now, pick whichever one, or if multiple come up. Maybe you have like a birth family and a chosen family you want to get a reading on or something like that. Or, you know, I'm going to focus this into birth family, but that doesn't mean you can't work with the energies in a way that suits you and fits your desires for a reading in this case. So pick whichever one calls to you. Down in the description, you'll be able to jump to your pile. Other than that, I'll give you some time to pick your reading today. Hello and welcome in pile number 1. Sorry, that hello was like, oh, that got a little bit frog in my throat. But you have chosen the Ascended Master Katumi and the Moss Agate with Sacred Ecosystem. I don't know much about Katumi, but anytime I've picked a card with him on it or looked him up and kind of tried to gather some information, it still feels super elusive. But I felt like a really nice energy from there. And coming through with Sacred Ecosystem, this does feel like, whether you like to admit it or not, that you really did choose this family for meaning and purpose in not just your learnings in this life, but also your family learnings in this life as well. So I'm going to have a look at Master Katumi and the Sacred Ecosystem for your reading. Also, obviously, the Moss Agate as well. It kind of looks like a reflection. When I looked at this, I was thinking of something really ancient. So that's why it's like, does this mean generations or lifetimes? We'll see. We'll see what comes through. in the reading. There's a lot of cards that are picked today, so we'll take a few and we'll see how it goes. There's probably not going to be a lot of room for tarot, but that doesn't mean tarot is needed in this reading fully, right? We'll get some, but it looks like a whole bunch of oracle cards today. So I'll grab your oracle cards. Let's see. Okay. Got a jumper, so we'll take that one because it wasn't a crazy jumper. It was just decided to be picked today. Do have the camera a little closer today too, which might take up some space, but you'll be able to see the cards when they're turned. I'm sure just like anyone, why would we incarnate with our families, right? We kind of have gripes or like things like that, but we know deep down the learnings and the purpose of it. They're not always here to help us get everything right, be perfect or anything like that, because I guess otherwise we wouldn't be human. I don't believe any human makes 0 mistakes in this lifetime. But we'll have a look anyway. Yeah, lots and lots and lots of oracle cards. I'm going to leave that one just as the last one because I do want some tarot. I'll put one here and a couple there. Maybe we'll put them on top. We'll see. I'll put this one here for now. Anyway, let's get into it. You've got the zombie and the Vivi Aizan, struggle, lost souls, and rituals. Okay. It's giving me a very clear idea, but I want to grab all the cards, all the oracles. It's a yes. Yeah, if you're like, I don't know if I chose them, yeah, you did. It's also this like idea of projection or a mask removing and freedom, right? Could be breaking a cycle in this life, and that's what I was going to think of, but I was like, we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of confirmed it. Yeah, there we go. Breaking addictions, breaking cycles. So you've decided to come help this soul family, either a particular person, and doesn't mean anyone else, doesn't matter, right? We're not like the main character in the story and everyone else is our side characters. Everyone's kind of going through everything, everyone's equal. So there could be a lot of this in your life. Maybe you're not breaking the addiction, like being addicted, maybe you're helping another person who's addicted to something, or it could be just like a family cycle, right, of abuse or of like treating someone poorly or something like that, right? And it's like your family line history is kind of that aspect, that toxic aspect is being broken, and so the next generation doesn't have to carry that burden. So you're really here to assist. It's not like a super easy path, but it's not like it's not like something really, well, I don't want to say something heavy because it's all different perspectives, right? You'll know whether it's like something that's really hard and has been a challenge or has been kind of like very easy to break, right? It's just like, oh, I'm not going to continue that, so that's pretty easy. You've got the Starry Night with acceptance. I feel like some people are still like, no, I wouldn't have chose this. It's got like, it's a yes and acceptance, like kind of like accept you chose it, right? If you're still questioning that, I would say, yeah. But anyway, that's coming through. The acceptance card and the thickets of thorns, the uncertainty. It's challenging, right? This hasn't been easy. That's why when I was about to say, it hasn't been hard, but then it was kind of like, that's perspectively. Some souls might come through and find certain things really easy. Some find it really hard. I would say if we're coming to Earth, we're probably going to face something that's really confronting or challenging. And here with the uncertainty, it's not so much uncertainty, but this idea of like thorns, like, you stray too far, you're going to get like stabbed by a thorn or pricked, I guess is a better word. But yeah. But look at these butterflies. Opportunities for great transformation, right? Great growth. That's why you came here. You didn't come here for a holiday. You didn't come here to sit and like, be a billionaire or something and just, I don't know, complain about not getting the Gucci bag that you really wanted on time or something, you know, whatever. That's not really your life. You're here for something more deeper than just the material. Oh, I like that. You've got the Fire Guardian with Ignite Your Passion. So with all these cards, like just off the bat, feels like you're here to come through for a particular purpose. It does feel like to deal with a cycle of rebirth, right? The idea of the zombie in Hollywood is completely different to like the original. It was almost like a fear of being enslaved and then you die and then your soul being enslaved by a wizard or like by slavers, right? So it was kind of like perpetually being stuck in a cycle, which we can do if we don't heal or grow from the challenges. We sometimes will have like a person who will come in to the family who are just so different, right? So not going to put up with this, that, or the other, or recognizes when they start mimicking or following old traditions that no longer serve and have to go through their own process of breaking it. So you really have come here. If you have grandparents as well or anything like that who have passed, I feel like they're learning from you in the afterlife as well of how you deal with things. Whether you think you've done the right thing or wrong thing, it's still educational, right? It's kind of like when you start playing a new game, and if you're like fifth in line to get in there, if you watch everyone in front of you do stuff, you kind of become better and better and know little bits, even though you haven't played it. Once it's your turn, you're more informed than the person who was first, right? So potentially you are, they are observing because maybe they went first, didn't break the cycle, and then next one, you're here to actually clean some of it up. I would say it is, I don't know actually what it is specifically. It could be just to, what is the thing that's coming through? It's like to unleash or be free. There's like to follow your own path, follow your own peace of mind, right? Instead of getting stuck in cycles of blame, or it's like this person's fault, it's that person's fault, or this is why I'm like this. You know, maybe you've gone through cycles with that within your own lifetime, but this is going to be a life where you really do break them, like break addiction, something that's an addicting thing. Could be really anything. So I would say it just blocks you from your freedom, peace of mind, and also from your passions and doing things. It's kind of like, I can't do that because my parents said I couldn't do that, so therefore I'm taking that as their fault for not me trying this new thing, right? It's kind of like breaking that and say, I have the power, I'm claiming the power. If they said I couldn't do it, that's fine, right? I don't need to believe that. I'm going to go do that. And that's breaking the cycle. So it doesn't always have to be like talking to family or friends. It can be just changing the way you deal with things that you've seen progressively throughout your ancestry. Or maybe you've never known it in your ancestry, because let's be real, a lot of older people don't always talk about stuff that's happened in the past, or they lie about it, right? It's like, not always, but you know, some of them keep kind of tight-lipped about stuff. Okay. So this feels really good. It does feel like this is a family you may have cycled through with in other lifetimes. Just because that real sacred ecosystem, it feels like building a new, better way of being, a new, fresher life. Like when you watch, I don't know, if you were God's watching down on a farm, right, and you see the farm getting plowed and plotted the same way every single time, and as the world changes, environments changes, they don't change, and it gets worse and worse and worse. This could be like, you know, watching them and seeing then someone new come in and try different ways of how to irrigate the farm or how to change it, and that, while they haven't done that that way ever, it's sometimes if a family can come in and be like, okay, well, we've got nothing to lose now. And unfortunately, it has to get to those stages instead of growing with the changing world. So it's good. I feel like you're here to grow with the changing world and help in that way as well. Okay, let's see what the tarot cards want to say. Yeah, it's funny using the growing analogy. We've got the pentacles, which touches in on earth, bare feet on the ground, right? And letting go of the past or letting go of the old ways. All these little pentacles are being dropped not because he needs them, but because they no longer serve. And it's the Knight of Pentacles, someone who is quick but is strategic or plans before they go, right? Talking about the field analogy, another card has like Knight kind of writing down some paper, and in the background there's plants, and it's like sowing the seeds that will grow based off what feels right, right? Being efficient instead of just rushing off into something, but planning it and then get going. So it does feel like you've come here to release some of the stuff, but also to path out your own way in a way that feels more natural with the bare feet, that feels more grounded, that feels more real to you, not with all this lofty idea stuff that gets stuck in, the natural human cycle. I wonder if you're like a, like kind of like the, not ahead of your soul group, but just like a more mature soul for your soul family or soul group. Doesn't have to be, but even that might translate into how you act and feel around some of the people you're connected with in this life, right? Making the changes, Tower card coming through, very much does tie into breaking addictions as well. Uncertainty. You don't have to really know the path, you have to trust and believe in yourself. So it's not it doesn't feel like it's an easy existence at times for you. That doesn't mean it's going to be like this forever. It's just like maybe the difficult stuff has passed, but the trauma or the changes still hold on, right? So, but you weren't here to play it safe. You were here to make those huge changes. Got the butterflies here. There's butterflies here too that are disintegrating. They're like monarch butterflies. The squirrel's nuts are getting disintegrated. So it's kind of like it's getting pulled out of reality. This really toxic cycle that may have popped down throughout the ages. Through doing these kind of things, you learn huge lessons though, right? We don't learn huge lessons by having an easy life, basically. We want like ease in it, calm spaces, challenges throughout as well, because that gives us variety, but we weren't really here to just have like a full-on cruisy life. I don't know if anyone comes to Earth for that reason though, either. I've got the 10 of Swords. Yeah, there's a huge amount of letting go, right? Releasing. Heavy though, like the 10 of Swords, very heavy. It's an interesting imagery here because it's not the dead kind of like person. This is like wandering lost in the desert almost, or going it alone, but having huge support. It's like guides are guiding you, you're never alone. But it feels like you're pretty eager to come into this life and put on the mask. Put on the mask of, or the illusion of, separation, I guess is the best way I can put it. But even here with this like elusive energy, but very, with Katumi, very wise. Like I feel like you have really good guides guiding you. You might think, well, then why did this happen? Why did that happen? It was happening because it was maybe meant to. Maybe not in an exact way, but the underlying lesson was meant to come out in some way. And sometimes those underlying lessons can come out in the most softest way, and some of them in the most detrimental and heavy way, right? But you're here to break it. I would say though, if it's like really heavy and too hard, don't worry about it. You're here to initiate it, not necessarily complete it. But that's going to be up to you and your choices in this lifetime. All right, last card, you have the Chariot. I like this card because it reminds me of like, kind of just rushing forward, even though who uses carriages anymore, or chariots, right? Carriages are usually used in wealthy kind of like parks or something, or weddings and that kind of thing. It's not really used these days. Back in the day, it was the mode of transport. And if we're talking about actual chariots, then it's like way back, right? They use them in war. So this feels like continually heading forward, even though light and shadow is going to be pushing and pulling you through it as well, pulling in your energy, maybe taking your energy. So being very wise and thoughtful in how you deal with these challenges in family. I'm talking about some of the really heavy stuff. This is not like your whole family's terrible or anything like that, but it does feel like there's certain things. Now, they may not have played out with family members, it could have played out with other people, but it's something that your soul family, which I feel like the people in your immediate family are kind of soul family. Soul family aren't here to always give us like a perfect ride, right? They are here to push and pull us, and sometimes it can seem really detrimental in this one lifetime. But it's just however the story's told in your what do you call it, your life path, I guess, your life book in this particular lifetime, because remember, this is one of many. Anything else? Kind of feels like you're here also to help recenter some people. Now, healing other people and all that kind of stuff, I never see as your job or like someone else's job. Like, to heal yourself, you need to heal you. We have other people around to give us tools, to help us, guide us, right? That kind of thing. But like leading a horse to water, we can't make it drink, same thing. Like, ultimately, people can be carried all the way to the end, but they have to cross the finish line themselves. There's no growth in piggybacking, basically. So while you may want people in your family to be this, that, or the other, or heal this, that, or the other, they gotta do it themselves. In positive sense, from what I can see, this does, going through whatever you need to go through and what you've already gone through, it does open up a whole new world to yourself in this lifetime. Like, it just comes up with freedom and the choice to make peace with certain aspects of life, and also to engage with fun activities or things that you feel passion or drawn to. Like this angel coming through the fire guardian, it's like to ignite passion, right? To really help us see the greatness in our life where sometimes it would have been seen as kind of like a detriment. I do feel like no matter what, at the end of this lifetime, there's not going to be any heavy energy either way towards you or towards even the other people. There's going to be probably like some kind of reconciling, which I guess is the past not past life review, end of life review, right? That kind of thing, or that story. But to be fair, I don't think anyone really knows what happens or how it all works in the post-life. There's just like theories and ideas that could never be really proven, right? But we can get some idea from multiple channelers or psychics or whatever you want to call them, who will have a whole bunch of ideas, and if there's one that's like always mentioned, then we know that that's something that's important, right? That kind of thing. So yeah, don't hold on to any of the heavy stuff. As much as you can. These two can be quite heavy, the struggling card and the breaking addictions card. And it might be precarious at times, but as you can see, if the little deer can come through and navigate it without all the senses and kind of stuff that you may possess, you will be able to do it. You're being guided. Okay. I think that's it. So kind of an interesting one, right, for you, pile number one, that we just start off the bat with a big reading. Yeah, any questions, feel free to jot them, put them into the comments below. I'm talking about like I'm an old person, but I guess I am now. Yeah, write them down in the description, or not description, in the comments below if you have any questions. But otherwise, look after yourself, be kind to yourself and others, and I'll see you next time. Hello, pile number 2. So you've chosen got a segment and the fire agate with Passion of the Lionheart. Very nice card. Lots of fiery energy from that one for sure. Kind of doubles down, especially with the goddess, right? Segment and the fire agate. Like a lot of, like this is the fire of fire, so it's like, what would you call it? Like a explosion. So let's have a look and see why this is coming through, and also your other cards will come through for why you incarnated into the family that you have incarnated into. Might be able to find some insight. So I've got a lot of, actually I wanted to use these ones first, they're a bit shiny. So I want to really help you, I guess, identify some key things in why you have come into this family, right? A lot of us probably complain about our families for good reason or not. Depends on the family and situation, life, etc. But regardless, we're here, we're with them, and we always have the opportunity to live our life freely. Okay, I'm just going to grab one of these cards. Yeah, there we go. Okay, lots of Oracle today. So let's have a look at what you've got. You've got the Akraba Malu with the cuneiform, friction, communication, gossip. So it's an interesting one, right? Kind of like an aggressive stance here with this little scorpion man creature. And cuneiform. Cuneiform is like the ancient style of writing on tablets, right? So there's a purpose and reason why it goes left to right, because you're better off hammering with your right hand if your majority of people are right-handed and going this way and that way. So that's why a lot of the Middle Eastern nations where there's a lot less trees to create paper, but there's a lot of stone, I guess. I don't know, never really had a good look around the Middle East. But a lot of stone to be able to write these this alphabet or this language or letters through. So this one does talk about communication, but also gossip, right? So a lot of like words being said, let's say. I also have contemplate death and beyond. Now that's an interesting one. Got a key here, and this guy or this being is wearing this wheel. There's also a dove on top, so it's like enlightenment to help. It's almost like this to help either yourself or your family or both in some form overcome or transition to the next phase. So I don't know what that means, but that's what's coming through. I should get all the cards before I get too into it. Focus on higher truth. Interesting, getting contemplate death and then focusing on higher truth and not worrying about this world as in not worrying about the world, but not focusing so heavily on the 3D as everything, right? This is to kind of like remind either yourself, family, your soul, while it's incarnated, that you are a soul, that you are part of all things. So there's a lot of like advancing in this lifetime. You might feel like you've grown exponentially since you were like born, and maybe even you've seen your family grow as well. Maybe you've taught them a lot of stuff in this family. Sometimes people do learn a lot from kids, right? Which I think is why some people do have kids in their lifetime, regardless if they, wanted them or not or whatever. I think it really helps people see things outside of themselves and start to see, the love and growth in another soul, right? In another being. The wise one, grow within your current situation. You're getting a lot of like higher kind of cards. Higher being. I mean, contemplating death and beyond is really talking about like faith and religion, right? You might have been born into a religious kind of like group or something like that, or followed an organized common religion. I don't know, whatever's common in wherever you're from. And maybe seen how that helps and how it hinders and how you have transitioned with that throughout life, if you have. Yeah, this is saying way beyond now. You've got the star ancestors, follow the voice of your soul. Star ancestors talks about like star seed energy, way bigger than just this place. The family could have even helped with this, and you might think, well, they weren't nice, or this wasn't nice, or that wasn't nice, or they tried to constrict me. But generally, those kind of situations open up an opportunity to grow even deeper, right? If you're never really challenged, then what you're doing is enough. If you were like a sports player and there was only two other people in the world that played that sport and you were the best, you kind of reach a peak, right? But then a whole group of people that are, challenge that position, it kind of forces people to get better and better. That's kind of how this is feeling. It's like, that's where the passion is, because it's like getting things moving, getting kind of like growth projected or moved. So the friction could have been a lot of friction in certain places, whether it's with family or other people. You might have grown through relationships and that kind of thing, but like a lot of moving through a whole lot of phases in your life. You've got the maple spirit with generosity. Yeah, you didn't have to come here. You're probably like, why the hell did I come here? The maple spirit's just kind of reminding me of like generosity, as in, there's that side of it of giving, but also you've given as well to come here and be here. You might be like a black sheep of your family, some of you, and some of you might fit in really, really well, but on the inside have transformed a whole lot of stuff that is completely different to what others around you would have done. They might have just sat in the same boat, and it's looked like they might still see you in the boat, but you've actually, on a jet ski to another island. You've got the Five of Cups. This is being able to really see very quickly how things work and how things don't work in this life. Like, for some reason, these feel like people lining up to go into the hole. And it's like, that saying when, I don't know, some of you might have remembered it when you were a kid, but the parents being like, well, if you argued like, well, I was following this person who was a friend, so I was following Jack or something. And then they turn around and say, well, if Jack jumped off a bridge, would you? And, usually it's a rhetorical question, but if you're a smart ass like me, you might have said yes. You know what I mean? Of course I would have, because Jack knows everything. But, that kind of thing. It's kind of like seeing where people are going and why they're doing it. Because if we're doing things for no purpose or a reason, and then when we question it, we get kind of like shunned, then we know it's a red flag, right? If people don't want to talk about certain things in a relationship, when it's about a relationship that you're currently in, right, then why? Why all the secrecy? So yeah, I feel like this is really understanding what is worthy of staying and what is not. Oh, you've got the Knight of Cups as well. It feels like you've bought it a gift. You've been a gift for a lot of people, whether they see it in the 3D or not. Subconsciously, it's really helpful. You've really helped. So while you've incarnated into a particular family, and that's where this was set at, it does also feel like outside of the family, you might have come to like weird freaking situations where people have helped you or not helped you or whatever, and it's like being really weird, but there was some kind of purpose in almost like every weird situation. And I don't mean weird as in like dangerous, but maybe some of them were, but I feel like just random stuff, even people asking you for directions randomly, right? We've had that, me and my partner, and we looked like tourists, but we still got asked in Italian, because we don't speak anything other than English because we're useless. But asked like, oh, is the bus, like, I kind of understood what they're saying. They're saying, oh, the train, is it not going because of this, that, or the other? And I was like, I don't know, I don't speak Italian. They're like, oh, I don't know why we looked like that, but anyway. Oh, that card fell out. Two of Cups, a lot of love here. You have definitely been a blessing. And High Priestess, look, another high card. There's a lot of higher self and higher being kind of energy coming through. I don't know if this family that you're in is necessarily like soul family, and I don't think that matters too much. Some of them you might recognize or feel a kinship to, and that might not be just because they're exactly like you or whatever, but there might be something, right? There's something there. But it doesn't feel like they're all your soul family or incarnations that you would normally incarnate in. You've kind of come here as a starseed to assist with, I would say, collective awakening, understanding, contemplating. Death is not something where you either go to the good place or the bad place, right? If you've seen the show The Good Place, or hell, or whatever you want to call it, and get chopped up forever, or whatever the freaking crazy saying is, or the idea of hell, with some believers of that. It's just seeing like that really we're all here to grow within the confounds of the life that we've been offered and the family that we've grown into and overcome certain stuff. That's definitely part of your growth, but also to help these people evolve as well and come to a more peaceful kind of mindset instead of being so fearful, right? So fearful. Humanity is super fearful. It's forgotten love almost. It's forgotten, like, even now in the political climate, right? We've almost been seen to like be us versus them type mentality. Like they're trying to take what we've got, so we have to get rid of them, or some crazy stuff like that. And I feel like that's playing out to one prove that that's what a portion of society is like. But also that shows us that, okay, this is the reality in some places. That does not have to be my reality. I can still be helpful. I can still be me, while also being safe, right? And protecting myself as well. But I don't have to fall into these ideals that are playing out in ways that I don't feel connected with. So yeah, love and relationships definitely is something heavy here. When I say heavy, I mean more potent, maybe is a better word, more powerful. Your connections, your relationships, your loves, your work, your contracts, like a lot of that kind of stuff is really here for you to grow in. Certain people we might have come across in workplaces who were great or who were terrible, right, were there to kind of prompt you onto the path that you're on. It does feel like you're here onto a good path, but you've really been kind enough to incarnate to really help Earth, or Earthlings, I guess, or humans, transition into wherever they're going next. So yeah, I mean, that's cool. Hopefully you had the right teachers along the way, or you've still got some of them. If not, you are ultimately your own teacher anyway. If you're coming through as the wise one, then you already have all that within. It's nice to have the right tools or the right people to guide us. But even if none of that happens, we always have ourselves to help us evolve and do better in this world, right? Instead of by me to connections and love and getting back to, I guess, that truth of who we are. Okay. I don't think there's anything else to really say. If you have questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. But otherwise, that's it. Thank you for your service, kind of thing. Like really, it's like thank you for your service. It feels kind of like that. Very cool. Things will unfold as they need to. You're good. You're on a good path of differentiating between time wasting, energy wasting, whether it's apps, whether it's people, whether it's work, whether it's like actions. You're here to refine, or at least to remind people of source love, right? Anyway, thank you very much for letting me read for you. Take care of yourself, look after each other, and I will see you next time. Hello, welcome, par number 3. So you've chosen the angel Isda and Carnelian with Nourishment. Angel number 444, card number 10. It's a very interesting symbol. This, like, the energy of this. Don't know how to put it into any kind of like message, but I don't know, it feels very rooted, right? It's a very red color, so I guess that makes sense with the root chakra, but it's like very grounded, grounded energy. Okay, so let's see why you incarnated into the family that you did. Okay, I'm going to leave them turned down so I don't get too swayed by starting to read too early. I never see if I do start to read as a bad thing because, you know, take what resonates, leaves what doesn't. But I want to get like a full picture in this reading. Take this one. Song's an interesting name too. It's called Until I Found Myself. So that nourishment might come through with like, you know, finding the right people to resonate with, or the right tribe, or the right kind of like energy, whether that is family or it's like outside of family. That's kind of coming through with the song. I kind of noticed some of the songs because they all play at the same kind of like level. And then if I hear them really loud, then I know that there's something like I need to look at it, right? Pay attention. Might just grab one of these. Okay. It's always shuffled before I start reading, just so you know they don't just sit there. All right, we'll grab some Oracle, some Tarot in time. But you're the Chaos Seeker in the Mask. It says turmoil, crossroads, and fears. So while this card from my deck is throughout all the readings has been different, they also have the same theme, right? It's like you've chosen a challenge, let's just say. Chaos Seeker can be someone who's looking for a hard kind of like difficulty challenge, maybe leveling up. Ultimately, you start kind of like from level 1, right? It feels like you're starting from level 1 until you go through the levels, let's say, if we're talking about in a video game. But we'll give that a sec before I get into it. Listen to your guardian angel. Ooh. Something kind of heavy about this card. Like, it's a nice message, of course, but I feel like the guardian angel gets really involved when it's kind of like dangerous situations, life or death situations, right? Really difficult stuff. It doesn't mean they always do throughout life, but I feel like if we can't feel them or hear them, then we kind of miss the guidance, and then they have to react in whatever ways is right? You have support. Love that. If there has been heavy stuff with this, because the nourishment, this kind of felt very like difficult. I don't know what it is. And obviously crossroads aren't always difficult. Sometimes it's easy to know which path is which, especially if we're standing in the middle and there's like 2 paths that have led to here and there's 2 paths splitting off again. And then all our worries and fears kind of like dictate what's right. You know, we feel challenged to know where to go, and there's a lot of ideas of masks coming off, so you might have had to really peel off the layers throughout this lifetime that you're in now, of yourself, of like other people, of just like reality even. Yeah, it's been a bit of a trick. So you've got the medicine guardian with being open to healing information. Yeah, I don't know what's necessarily happened in this lifetime, but it's just like there's a lot of like not being able to see the future, having to trust certain things, a lot of fear, a lot of like worries about making right or wrong decisions, right? And it's like, listen, be open, you've got support. You're not alone in this lifetime. If you ever feel that, they're just coming through to remind you that they're always there. And I'm talking about soul family, I'm talking about ancestors, I'm talking about angels, right? I'm talking about star family, whatever feels right to you. That kind of like support, God, goddess, you know, whatever you subscribe to. You've got the hermit to retreat and recharge. If this is like a message now, if you feel very kind of like pulled in many directions, this could be a good time to look after yourself. But we're talking about the topic. I'll flip this one and then we'll just have a look. Patience. Good old patience, everyone's favorite card because, you know, humans are so patient. But we've got the foggy bog with patience and this little heron. Not again, foggy, right? Fog does not help when you're trying to travel, especially drive. If you've ever driven through like dense fog, it is terrifying because while you have fog lights, it doesn't help being able to see if people are crossing the roads, or it's a bit scary. So patience is definitely important in foggy weather. You want to not end up in an accident and then really waste your time, right? Go slow. Yeah, looking at this one, Nourishment, Angel Isda. I'm just going to have a quick look at Angel Isda because I don't know this angel exactly. So let's see. It says, this is an angel of nourishment, providing sustenance for physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Also related to Raphael, which is kind of interesting because, well, this isn't Raphael exactly. It's kind of like that vibe, right? Archangel Raphael, which is a healer, helps us through challenges, helps us heal, helps us grow, that kind of energy. I'm still not getting like a full picture of why you incarnated into this life. More of just like, this life had stuff that has caused many different challenges, tribulations, and maybe loneliness, neglect, abuse, whatever. And it doesn't have to be from family. It could be from just like life, right? But there's a lot here. And so you're at kind of like a point to take it slow. You don't have to be anywhere you need to be, especially if you're reuniting with family or reconnecting with certain family. Take it a step at a time. You don't have to be anything for them. You're here for yourself, your growth. But it feels like you've come here to learn, I guess, grow in some way. And you've gotten that. You've definitely got that experience down. Yeah, overcoming challenges. You've got the strength card. There's the softness of the lamb and the fierceness of the lion, right? Overcoming challenges, overcoming fears. It just talks about a lot of overcoming, taking off masks, recognizing who you are. That's why I don't like how people sometimes judge how someone's acted 20 years ago or said something 20 years ago, especially if it was like appropriate at the time. That doesn't mean they should be let off, but that doesn't mean they should be cancelled, right? That doesn't mean you that's how they are now. People evolve and change and grow. So we shouldn't also judge ourselves from anything that we may have done or felt in the past. This is definitely a reading of growth. And spiritual enlightenment. Yeah, I haven't really talked about that. Interesting, they're both sitting in, I guess it's called lotus pose, right? Or just spread. I don't know. In a cross leg. Anyway, you've got the Hierophant here right next to this Hermit. So coming through with new boundaries, new evolution, growth, healing, prosperity, abundance, and I'm talking about prosperity and abundance and the feelings within yourself, more so than external. The external will reciprocate, but the internal is where this is coming from. It almost kind of feels like you might have come into this lifetime because of past lifetimes had some kind of like baggage or something, and this was a way to release some of that, and sometimes to let go of some of the baggage, especially if someone's like hell bent on keeping their bags with them, right, and holding on to it even though it's full of stuff that's not helpful, and then someone comes along and rips it away. That can be like really devastating, but it might be the thing that had to happen because you were never going to let go of it, right? So there's something there, but take that or leave that if that doesn't feel real. It just popped up in my mind and I feel like I need to say it if I see it. Ooh, yeah. Difficult decisions, right? Challenging decisions. A lot of blindfolds as well, closing eyes, even though he's smiling. There's not being able to see everything. Even the angel who's, I guess, opening up to a new world has is still also eyes closed, and even here we don't get to see the eyes, but we know that they're wearing a mask. So yeah, a lot of a lot of crossroads. This doesn't feel like your first crossroad or you've had many crossroads to get to here. A lot of like, do I stay in this family or this situation now, or do I leave? Do I stay with this partner or do I leave? Do I take this job or do I leave? Like everyone has these, but these feel like, you know, catalysts after catalysts potentially in your life. The last card, you've got the 5 of Cups, and here it's like letting go. There's like this, you know, loss of time, energy, or even people throughout time. This is a lifetime where you've been able to let go of a lot of things and start to nurture and heal in this lifetime. Maybe not like throughout the whole life, right? Because a past life reading for someone in their 5 years old is going to be different in their 50s, or even 20s to 22, right? That could be a huge difference. So that's why I'm saying this is throughout life. There will be these huge opportunities to let go. There's a lot of letting go, and maybe some of the stuff that you've learned in this lifetime, you need to work on or work through letting go as well. I don't know. When I say you need to, I mean, like, is that part of your desire or contract? It's not me telling you. It's just more like that may be what you need to do. If that feels right to you, because no one's going to make you do something or not, basically. So how do I summarize why you incarnated into this life? I would say this is to heal and grow and clear some of the old stuff slowly in a patience and harmonious and healing way. These 3 cards, very slow, but very helpful, right? I'd rather slowly heal and grow than quickly just try to break the chains and then become deformed, right? From reopening wounds that weren't ready to be reopened, or to bear witness to things that I didn't want to feel or see. So you got to take it slowly. Be disciplined with yourself. Make the difficult choices and let go. I mean, it all kind of flows really nicely. But you've got a lot of support. I would say if they're not family or friends, then you've got support like in the higher realms. But hopefully you also have people around you. You'll know if you do. Sometimes we say we don't, we have no one, but we really do, right? It just depends on kind of where our mental state's at. But yeah, ultimately you're here to nourish and heal and grow in this lifetime. And that's like a big theme over many other themes that you may have as well. You know, when I say over, not like higher or better, just like maybe blanket over other topics or things that pop up in your life that you feel resonant with. Okay, I don't know if I have anything else to say to you today, pile number 3. It's kind of like a big reading, right? It's like a bit of a breath out, I guess. Breathe in, breathe out, kind of like after all this. But, you know, the family may have played particular roles that may have been quite heavy, and some of them might have played roles that were fine. Obviously, it's going to depend on the individual situations, but even some of the heavy stuff teach us something in this lifetime, and it's up to us how we work with it, right? Not whether we do anything, but how we work with it, how we process it, how we move on from it, how we it becomes our strength. Sometimes the biggest weaknesses become our biggest strengths, right? Those kind of things. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much for letting me read for you today, pile number 3. I hope this really helped. Any questions, feel free to comment. Otherwise, take care of yourself, be kind to yourself and others, and I'll see you next time.